Summit. You're still with us here on day two, here on the venture stage. I'm Romar, I'm your MC, and I'm from Christie's Strategic Partnerships team. Before we move on to the next summit, we still have ongoing activities happening on the main stage, on the pitch stage, plus also in the GBA and international stage. So before we wrap up at the end of the day, please contact all the people that you wanted to see, drop them emails, notes, chat to them, or direct the questions to us, and we will make sure that you will get connected with them. All right, now moving from the conversation between, let's say, Germany and Switzerland, we now move back here on partnership, innovation, and the power of the ecosystem. And we are going to be witness to a conversation between the head of strategic partnerships at Xero, Devere, Bryan. Hi, Devere.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, where are you dialing in from?
I'm dialing in from Hong Kong. Sunny Hong Kong.
That's fantastic. You're here. That's fantastic. Right. Devere leads the region on global platform business solutions growth. For those of you who are not familiar with what Xero is, they are a beautifully designed, easy to use, cloud-based finance and accounting platform with over 2 million organizations subscribing from more than 180 countries. So they've actually won a lot of accolades. They were ranked #1 by Forbes as the world's most innovative growth company for 2 years running. Congratulations on that, Devere.
Thank you very much. Not very much to do with me, but I'll take it.
There you go. Take it. Devere will be joined by one of our partners from DBS. DBS is one of this festival's partners, and in 2019 was named World's Best Bank by Euromoney in its 2019 Awards for Excellence. In fact, it follows the bank's wins for Global Finance's Best Bank in the World and The Banker magazine's Bank of the Year Global in 2019. So DBS is basically the first bank in the entire world to hold basically the triple crown. So we're welcoming Brit Blakeney, the head of innovation and ecosystems at DBS. Prior to joining DBS, Brit was a director at Dun & Bradstreet focused on digital transformation. Brit, Devere?
Hello, thanks so much for having me today.
You're very welcome. I think the floor is yours.
Okay, great. Thanks again. Hi, Devere. How are you?
Fantastic. Lovely to see you.
Next time we'll be in the same room together.
Let's hope. Absolutely. I wish that was the case today, but I can see the sun shining behind you and the sun shining on me here. So
yes, yes, exactly. I've taken over our boardroom for the day here. So. So Devere, tell us, if you don't mind, let's maybe sort of warm things up a little bit. Can you tell us a little bit about your background, what brought you to Hong Kong?
Sure.
How long you've been here?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm one of those stories of somebody that came to Hong Kong for a short time and ended up here for a long time. I was sent to Hong Kong by an American telco called IDT. From Europe. I was running the operations for the business out of Dublin, and we'd done a pretty good job out there. And they turned around to me one day and said, "Hey, we're looking at an opportunity in Asia. You've done really well in Europe. Could you pop over there? We've set up some infrastructure. Can you pop over and see what it looks like from a business perspective?" It was meant to be a 1-week trip with a look at maybe a 6-month stay. And yep. 1 week turned into 16 years. So yeah, I came here in 2004. I was with that business for quite a while, for about 12 years. And it was a great business. You know, we did a lot of great work expanding the business out of Hong Kong into Singapore, into various countries, Australia, New Zealand, all over the place. But it was one of these businesses that, you know, was innovating in a different way, and the world was changing real quick. You know, we saw the rise of free telco, and we were a paid telco product base. So, you know, pivoting and moving quickly in that space is something that's, you know, have to be very nimble to do. So, you know, I wasn't feeling that was happening. I saw other companies being very, very innovative and latching on to the free telco space with Viber and WeChat and eventually WhatsApp, and then adding paid services in there to make up that revenue. stream. So somebody popped up, as they do these days, on LinkedIn and asked me whether or not I'd be interested in doing some business development with them. And it turns out I was like, wow, you've got an amazing product here. You know, they were a product that was focused on payments, on international cross-border payments, but wanted telco as the latch to get people to come in and try and trust them. So again, I started doing business development with them and ended up being their COO, which was not something I had planned, but ended up being
very cool.
Yeah, it was a real fantastic move for me. And we used Xero. We were a small business, we were a startup, and we used Xero to do all of our payroll. It was an IT-based company, and our accounting. And I just learned about this amazing business. And when an opportunity came up, the MD of Xero that I knew before through various different business background had asked me whether or not I'd be interested, and I jumped at it. So I joined Xero just under 2 years ago.
Okay, great. Thanks so much. Congratulations. It's a great company.
No,
so can you tell us a little bit more about Xero and what differentiates Xero from other providers in the space?
You know what, I believe it is our ecosystem. You know, Xero is a cloud accounting platform, right? It's a cloud accounting product that does 3 or 4 things really well for a small business. You know, you can get your general ledger in there, you can do your day-to-day accounting, you can raise invoices, and it streamlines and takes away a lot of the spreadsheet type of work that you need to do. Outside of that, the power of Xero, in my opinion, really does come from our partnerships and our ecosystem that allows us necessarily in a position financially to lock into a long-term big kind of ERP type platform to tailor a solution that fits their needs. So that makes Xero a much broader product spec, you know, and it allows us to be super nimble, as I was mentioning earlier on, with regards to what we're offering, because we're not offering that as a service, we're offering it as an option for somebody to create a solution. So I do think that's one of our great differentiators.
And how are you investing in your open platform? And if you can tell us a little bit maybe about your product pipeline and what are your plans for the future?
It's a great question. Yeah, you know, we're constantly investing in our ecosystem, in our marketplace. We've got a vision for Xero that sees us evolve into a full platform business. And you know, we take that vision from what we've seen over the last 8, 9, 10 years with other great success stories in the technology space. The obvious one that I use sometimes when I'm talking about this type of thing is with Apple, right? With Apple iPhone, you know, specifically, where you've got this tool that, you know, a large percentage of the population has one, and it does 3 or 4 things really well, like I was saying with Xero, but people then add on, they've got their lifestyle inside there with their music, with all of their different apps to tailor it to themselves. And that's where Xero sees the growth. That's where we see our pipeline. It's, you know, Xero doesn't necessarily want to become what our partners are. Like, we don't have the intention, for example, to become a bank, but we want to partner with the best banks. We don't have the intention to become an inventory management company, but we've got, you know, tens of inventory management companies sitting within our ecosystem that allow us to give those options out there. And then that hopefully will give us the opportunity to then grow into a business that revenue that we have is not necessarily all coming from those 2 or 3 things. It'll come outside of that from our ecosystem. Right now, our ecosystem is free, but we're working on a solution here that will see us evolve into a position where there's revenue generated out of the ecosystem to allow Xero to grow into a more broad business.
Great. And are you going to help SMEs be able to kind of use that platform to tailor make the solutions that work for them, to really help plug in the different products and services that would really suit their particular needs, to really make it very bespoke to them?
Absolutely. So, you know, we do that in various ways. One of the biggest outbound solutions that we have for SMEs is via our advisory group. So all of our accountants and bookkeepers that sit there and help advise small businesses in what they need and how to maximize Xero. That's one channel, but also through our marketplace, we're working, with solutions internally and externally to create utilize artificial intelligence, utilize a very nimble structure within the marketplace that will give a certain business type the ability to come in and immediately see solutions that may be in their vertical. So they can come along and through their interactions with Xero initially, we'll be able to tailor a solution there and say, hey, look, you're in the F&B business, you may be interested in this, this, and this. And
That's smart.
Yeah, it's super smart, and they'll be able to see those things and go, okay, I can try those. And one of the cool things, Brit, is that the majority of the solutions that sit in the marketplace also have a trial period. Xero gives away a 30-day free trial to everybody that wants to trial, test us out. And most of our partners do that as well. So you can go in, it's like with an app. Sometimes you go in like on your phone, you can go in there and say, okay, I'm going to try company A. It's got recommendations by this many thousands of people. It's got 5 stars. I'm going to go and give it a go. And then if it works for me, it works for me. Otherwise, I can stop. I can use another one.
Yep. And I think you, like us, we're very focused on really helping SMEs just be able to focus on their core business. So trying to take the busy work out of it, as much of the administrative work out of it as we can so that they can really grow their business. So how does your platform help enable that? And how long does it take an SME to get set up with Xero?
Getting set up with Xero is really easy and very quick. To get set up generally, it takes a matter of minutes to go in and sign up, and just like any SaaS product, you go in, you enter in your details, and away you go. Learning about how to utilize it is something, it's different for every company, really, depending on their expertise. If you have an advisor or an accountant bookkeeper that's sitting in our advisory group on our website, those guys will go in and they're all trained and certified in Xero, and they can act for you if you need, or they can advise you on how to maximize the solution. So actually utilizing it in its base structure is pretty straightforward. How you then use it to maximize the solutions within our ecosystem for your business is what I was just saying there, going around, having a look at what you think. Where are the pain points? Where are you spending time as a business that is just annoying? What is it you're doing every day that you don't want to do? Or what is it you're thinking, God, I need to hire somebody to come and help me with this? You may not need to. You may be able to go in and pay a couple of bucks a month for an app that sits in our ecosystem to take that pain point away from you. So that's where going back and looking in the marketplace, looking at these verticals we have in there and saying, okay, I'm sitting in there and looking at horizontally and saying, okay, these are all my options in here. Oh yeah, this is a pain point for me. I'm going to use this thing and see if it can take away that pain to allow me to focus on, what I wanted when I started this business. We're at a startup impact structure forum here, and it's people's dreams, and people didn't dream necessarily to sit down doing a bunch of admin, and Xero's, but the business creates admin for people, right? So
that's right.
One of Xero's big things is about, trying to take away that and allowing you to do beautiful business. That's why we have in our moniker.
That's awesome. So speaking of business, so it is all about partnerships. And of course, the buzzword of the day is ecosystem partnerships, which are, digitally driven partnerships. So what do you see as the value of an ecosystem partnership, and what makes an ecosystem partnership successful? Because I've seen many of them fail as well. Sometimes it's maybe just not a fit, or you don't have the right people who really have skin in the game, or they're not maybe fully invested in it. So what do you see? What makes a partnership successful?
I think you need to have a blend of having options, but not having too many partners. what I mean by that is like Xero has an open API structure, right? So anybody, any business can effectively start to build to us. We have tens of thousands. I think last count we had something like 45,000 businesses building to our APIs, but we only have 850 apps sitting in there, right? So there's quite a strong filterization structure in place. And what happens is we have a group of developer evangelists that are there that look at these apps that are building towards us and seeing what type of businesses they are. And we ask them a bunch of questions and we understand where they're coming from, so we can find out whether or not they're going to like overfill an area, or they're going to come in and devalue an area for us. So we're pretty stringent about who's allowed in. And we're looking at basically what quality over quantity effectively. And so that's the general thing. I think then when you have the partnership, it's around trust. It's around understanding what the outcome that each partner is trying to get. Like this is, in any partnership, it should be a two-way thing, right? A win-win solution. I think companies like Xero, people sometimes come along and feel, okay, I want to be part of that, but they don't really understand what to do when they get there. And that's our job. It's our job, my job, and my peers around the world. It's our job to then, find that use case with them, understand what type of values they have, what focus they have, and make sure that they're going to get out of this what they came into it. Because a lot of our ecosystem partners aren't large businesses. We do work with the large businesses and the big banks like yourselves, but we also have companies that think they're going to come into Xero and suddenly they're going to have these 2.5 million businesses, utilizing their services, and that's just not the case. So it can be the case for some companies, but it's rare. They need to set their expectations, and we need to be really honest with each other about, what the outcome that we're both looking at is.
Great. Yep, totally agree.
Honesty wins in any relationship, Brett.
What'd you say?
I say honesty normally wins in any relationship.
I agree. I think you have to be completely transparent from the start. You've got to be very clear with your partner about what your expectations are. And I think you've got to set jointly some KPIs from the start, so there's that understanding of what are we both working toward. And then also, of course, most importantly, is really looking out for the customer. Is this a value add for them? Is this something that is really going to benefit them? Sort of do all the pieces, the whole make up more than the sum of the parts. Yeah. So is it a better proposition, together than if we're offering these things separately? Yeah.
I also think sometimes as well, you see partners. What I've seen more and more over the last year is a web of partnerships. So like DBS and Xero have mutual partners. For me, that's such a win, because it validates all the work you were talking about, that you understand your customers, we understand our customers, and we've both come to the point where we've seen another business and we both want to partner with them. That makes sense to me. That kind of does create a little mini ecosystem within an ecosystem. Yeah. So
I agree.
That's also great. That kind of proves that you're in the right boat.
That's true. And also the people behind those companies, of course. I mean, that's something we really look for as well in partnerships is, do they think like we do? Do they have the sort of the same long-term goals, or are they really in it to make a quick buck? Are they in this for, the next 10, 20 years, or or in a year, are they going to change their whole business model and maybe not even be around, So it's finding those partners who are really in it for the long run, and who are going to grow with us, and be able to, these partnerships too, you've got to be agile as well. You've got to be able to change, you've got to be able to pivot, and be flexible as well. Totally. So, so good. So can you talk a little bit more maybe about why Xero decided to go with DBS? Although I know, we're not the only bank you work with, but why did you choose DBS, and I'll give you the easy question. What do you think is going really well with our partnership, and then where do you think our partnership can still grow?
I think the reason we went with DBS was predominantly because we opened up our operations in Asia in Singapore. So, and DBS is the biggest bank in Singapore, as you know. So, you know, it was purely initially from the perspective of, okay, we want to help as many customers as possible. And the view that we had then was, you know, DBS has the most business customers. So we went into a conversation around building the bank feed structure that allows an SME to seamlessly connect their bank to Xero and have daily transactions. So taking away a really common pain point on reconciliation, takes away a lot of admin work that I was talking about earlier on. But out of that, we also have seen so many synergies. You know, we had to get to know each other. When Xero entered the market 3.5 years ago in Singapore, DBS was the biggest bank in Singapore. Xero was this little Kiwi company that, you know, nobody knew. Cloud accounting was not a popular thing. One of our largest competitors, you know, was talking about leaving the market and whatnot back then. And, you know, it was not a real, I don't feel like the value that we were bringing was fully understood. So we had to get to know each other. Again, like in most relationships, there was a little, you know, this early dating period, I'll call it. You know, but it's always been positive. We've always had friends within the bank. We've had allies and advocates. We've understood each other. You know, I think Xero, being a bit of a smaller structure, has been able to be really quick around changing, whereas we've understood that the bank has a longer roadmap on things sometimes, and, you know, our expectation to change something or build something within a few months may not happen for longer than that. So really understanding each other, understanding the values that you were talking about earlier on, Brit, right? Like I say, Xero really does pride itself on helping small businesses. And that might sound a little bit cliche or salesy, but it's the truth. You know, it's more of what we're trying to do. It's why it was built in the first place. You know, the founder of Xero built it to help himself as a small business, and then blah blah blah, right? But you know, we've seen only growth. We've only seen positivity. We've seen patience from DBS for sure. You know, it took a while for us to agree on the big Start Digital Pro done in Singapore, but you will have seen last month we launched together, which is a huge win for us and our customers. Perfect timing with you know, the struggles that small businesses are having, you know, in the region, in Singapore, especially around COVID right now. So to be able to join into a digital program that's led by the government there, that's pushed by the bank, and that is supported by companies like Xero in order to give away more, get people digital, is a real positive. So real positive things. And same in Hong Kong with your colleagues here, Brit. You know, they've always been very patient, very open, very open to ideas. You know, we've tried some cool stuff. We've tried some really good marketing initiatives with the team, and, you know, we've had hits, we've had misses, but, you know, we've never had too much pushback, which is great. You know, in partnerships, you know, you have to take the wins and the losses and you keep moving forward, as long as it's all for the good.
Yeah, exactly. And it's got to continually evolve as well. So I think it's going to be really exciting when we launch our SME Digibank, which is in the closed pilot right now. But when that goes live later this year, I think that's really going to amplify our partnership together. So it's going to make it much more interesting, or we're going to be able to do many, many more things together.
Super excited about this, Brett. We've seen really amazing things in the UK. You know, Xero is partnered with the majority of the virtual banks, digital banks over there. And what we've seen there is those banks come out and they have an ecosystem, right? We sit within a couple of the bank's ecosystems there. So it's a two-way thing, right? It's the customer can now have everything in their hand, you know, all of their accounting, they can have all of their banking, they can have whatever else sits in the DigiBank's ecosystem in one spot on the move. It's wonderful, especially now, right? In a world where, you know, we don't know, it may be forever changed with regards to how people do business. And I think the timing is amazing by the bank. Fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm really excited about it. And it's just, you know, we've got to be where the customer is. And as you said, I mean, they're always on the move. And right now, I think so many of them, the platforms, they're very hard to use on mobile devices. for SMEs. So it's gonna really really further empower our customers so they can focus on their work.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. Hey, just on the COVID, have you seen a move towards, like, the timing of the digital bank is great, but have you seen an adoption of other services within the bank go up over the last 6 months?
Yeah. I think definitely for us, we've been really well placed for this unfortunate situation that we've all found ourselves in. But we are very much a digital first bank. And we have something called a DCO, a DVC, too many acronyms, our digital value capture. So we measure how digital all of our customers are. And we know how they want to interact with us, whether it's through digital channels or offline channels. So then we've really been able to help those who have been more kind of working with us through traditional channels and really helping them move to adopt more digital channels. And I think that's the beauty of, I won't go on a tangent here, but we actually looked at applying for a virtual banking license ourselves, but we made the decision for DBS that we are already on a great path in terms of our digital journey. We're well along in terms of our digital transformation. So for us, it didn't make sense to apply for another banking license. We can do everything we need to do with our current license and more, in that we can really take what we call, the phygital approach, where, it's both digital when it makes sense, but then we do have the physical when that makes sense, and when there is a need for that one-on-one, and when someone really wants to talk with an RM, they can call them or they can go to a branch if they want to meet them. But the digital channels are fantastic, and we have something, we've had it for a long time, it's even more popular now, called Meet Online, where our SME customers, even before we launched our digital bank, we launched this well over a year ago, maybe almost 2 years ago now, where they can do a lot of their onboarding online with an RM, and they don't have to go to a branch. So they can get most of it done over video already. So it's these kinds of things we're seeing more and more of a move in that direction. And I think, for those of us who are in the digital world, it's just, this is the only positive that's come out of it, is that we are seeing a much faster uptick of those digital channels. So that's a great thing.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's completely, it's obviously what's happening in the world right now is completely tragic. Technology, I think, will be forced to advance because it's a circumstance, rather than before it was an option. Now, some of these solutions you have to do it, right? You can't go out. You need to run a business. You're going to have to find a way to do it from home or do it from some other place. So it's things happen in the world whether it's a war or a pandemic. Sometimes innovation and growth come out the back of it, and that's one of the great things about the human spirit, is the ability to innovate and think on your feet and take a negative and turn it into a positive. So we're
totally
both we're at the vanguard of those things. So it's a bit of a responsibility for us to keep it going.
I agree. It's we're all in this together, and it is a huge responsibility, and we definitely don't take that lightly. So, we're really looking out for our customers in this environment and doing everything we can for them, and want to keep growing amazing partnerships like the one we have with you. So thanks so much for your partnership and your friendship, and can't wait till we can get together again, have a drink.
100%. I'm really looking forward to that. And I know that we have some amazing things in the pipeline as well for both Singapore and Hong Kong between the two companies. So the next 6 months will be exciting. Hopefully people can look out for those things coming up, and we'll make the most of that drink when we can finally have it.
That's right. All right. Well, thanks so much, Devere. Great talking with you.
My pleasure. I look forward to seeing you soon, Brit.
Thanks very much, Brit and Devere. That's the optimism that we like. Thank you so much for ending on a very positive note. For